Welcome back, All Sports Western New York. Mike Harrington, my guest in studio, the excellent reporter from the Buffalo News. We're talking hockey. Let's talk Jack Eichel. He's been playing in the World Championships, and for a college player, freshman, just still technically a freshman in college. The word I'm getting is he's not a boy among men. He's playing very well with these guys.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this tournament. I'm not obsessing about Jack Eichel's stats whatsoever. What I want to see is improvement, and that's what we've seen so far. Every game, Jack Eichel seems to be a little more involved, and he seems to be more confident on the ice. He's a guy who's already starting to feel his way around. This is his first real exposure to playing against NHL players, and I think it's a sign you're going to see next season. Jack Eichel's not going to light up the stat sheet for the Sabres next season, but he's going to get progressively better, more comfortable as the season goes, and there's just all kinds of natural talent there that you'll see played out. But it's interesting to me the way he's able to already compete against NHL players, and you see the flashes, you see the skating, you see that long stick, you see the drive down the middle of the ice, and that's something the Sabres have lacked.
You think Eichel's going to come to the Sabres with a chip on his shoulder because of the whole Connor McDavid, fretting over the fact that the Sabres weren't able to draft McDavid?
I think he'll come with a chip on his shoulder with Connor McDavid, not with Tim Murray. I think the Tim Murray thing is overblown. Oh, Jack Eichel's going to be mad about that. No, they'll get over that quickly. I think Jack Eichel is going to try to show that he is almost at Connor McDavid's level. I don't think he's at Connor McDavid's level. There is a little bit of a drop off there, but I'm pretty convinced that Jack Eichel will come in right away. And whether the Sabres make him the #1 center or not right away, he's going to be the #1 center eventually. But he knows that he's going to spend his entire career getting compared to Connor McDavid, and he's going to have to try to show that, those comparisons are legitimate.
Mike, what are you realistically expecting out of this team next year with all the new parts?
Oh, the Sabres aren't going to make the playoffs. I mean, let's get this right out here. They're going to be quite a bit improved, though. I mean, there's no question in my mind 25-point improvement is legitimate. Now, some of that is they were devalued this year. They were trying to be bad.
Right.
So it's not going to be tough to be better. But not only Jack Eichel, Evander Kane, and they're going to get other parts. I think they're going to poach a couple of veterans from other places off salary cap struggling teams. So the Sabres could be in that 77 to 81-point range in my mind after 54. That'd be a big improvement. I think it's 2 years away, serious playoff contention, 16-17, and you're really by 17-18, you want to be making some serious strides in the playoffs.
And I would expect to see last year's #1 choice Sam Reinhart on the roster next year.
Well, I would expect to see him on the roster, but I would say Sam Reinhart, major question mark. You have to see how he's going to do at the NHL level. Sam Bennett, taken by Calgary, making inroads, scoring goals in the playoffs. Sam Reinhart, unable to play in the NHL this year. Looked great in the World Championships, good in Rochester at the end, has a lot to prove coming in through development camp and training camp this year.
Okay, Mike, we're going to now tap into your baseball expertise because my Boston Red Sox just got swept by the New York Yankees. And they didn't look.
You need one of these, Bob. You need one of these. A few of those, actually.
Yeah. Well, and after all the money they spent in free agency, and they redid their entire rotation, and I know, believe me, folks, I know we're in Yankee territory. Okay, I know this. I was at a buddy's house watching the fight Saturday night, and when his wife found out I was a Red Sox fan, it was like an insult. I was in this bastion of Yankee fans, and I've known this guy my whole life. I knew he was a Yankee fan. I didn't know it was going to be a sore spot with his wife, but she fed me anyway. The Red Sox are now below 500 as we do this show. The Yankees are in first place, and really the roster doesn't overly impress me.
No, it doesn't impress you, and the starting pitching doesn't impress you either. Dellin Betances, Andrew Miller, the Yankees bullpen has been lights out.
Yeah.
And that's a real key. They went from Mariano Rivera to David Robertson, now to Betances and Miller. If they can close games, if they can get their starters that sixth inning, they're going to win at the end of games again. And A-Rod's been better than anybody thought. I know the average isn't there, but he's helped out Mark Teixeira get some better pitches. No one expected the Yankees to be head and shoulders above the rest of the AL East through 25 games.
And the Red Sox bullpen is not helping. Really struggling.
Nope.
Buffalo Bisons. This is a much improved ball team.
It was an interesting April for them, another good April, but now you're going to see a lot of the movement from Toronto. The difference this year is the Blue Jays started with 6 rookies. Some of those rookies really didn't come out to be major league ready. They're coming back. So now you're going to have Daniel Norris. You're going to have Castro, the closer. You're going to have Dalton Pompey, who came back to play center field Sunday, and that's going to help the Bisons. You're going to have big AAA prospects back. Normally you lose guys to the big leagues. It hurts the team. Now the Bisons are in a spot, getting guys back really could help them going forward.
And you've always got poutine at the ballpark.
Hey,
so.
poutine at the ballpark, you can't beat that, right?
Have you tried it yet?
I have. It's excellent. It's highly recommended, the poutine at Coca-Cola Field. They got in that Toronto flavor. It's a good one.
What do you like about it?
It's just an interesting concoction.
It's French fries
gravy.
with some kind of gravy.
It's French fries and gravy.
Is it like a roast beef gravy?
It's like a roast beef gravy.
And then there's cheese curds.
Cheese curds. It's just a Canadian concoction. It's delicious. You haven't tried it yet?
Mike, were you eating this prior to your surgical procedure, or is this possibly a cause for?
No cause, and I haven't had any this year either. Just for the record.
Well, I would stay away from. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Take my word for it.
It's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
All right. Let's switch because we've talked about everything else. I know you don't cover the Bills, but you certainly follow the Bills. Mel Kiper gave the Bills the lowest mark for their draft performance. I like to see somebody actually evaluate Mel Kiper's performance over the last 20 years, but nobody expected much out of this draft with the Bills. With the people they brought in free agency, they were not looking for help out of the draft.
Well, and his harsh draft evaluation was based on they didn't draft a quarterback. Okay, we all know they need a quarterback. Which quarterback were they going to take in this draft that was going to become a franchise quarterback? Bryce Petty is not going to be the starter for the Bills this year if they had taken him, according to what I've read. So, the Bills went defense. Rex Ryan's a defensive coach. They went heavy defense. They got a guard to help out on the offensive line. Is it the worst draft in the NFL? I think that's overly harsh. I don't think that's the case at all.
The only pick I thought, the running back from Florida State, I kind of scratched my head because they're certainly deep in running backs, but I know their philosophy is the top-rated player on the board at that point.
Here's what I like, Bob. We can look at all the different things the Bills do, and we question it. The one thing the Bills have developed now, even though they haven't made the playoffs in a long time, they're developing an attitude. And the attitude is, we're going to do it our way. We're not going to let outside influences get in, and we're going to try to see if it works. And if it doesn't work, the Bills are going to be subject to heavy criticism. But they seem to be following that Rex Ryan mantra. We think we know what we're doing. Now, they haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. I know Rex Ryan hasn't been here yet, but the Bills seem to be going down the straight and narrow and saying, we're doing it our way. We don't care what the rest of you say.
The Pagulas aren't publicly doing anything with the Bills, but if you go to their website, you can see plenty of photos of the Pagulas, both Terry and Kim, participating in the draft process. They seem to be more visible with the Bills right now than they are with their Buffalo Sabres hockey team.
Yeah, I saw the photo shoot with Ronald Darby the other day at the stadium. I think one of the issues is they're a new NFL owner. They're still becoming part of the game, and the NFL is quite a bit different than the NHL. And I think the Sabres, to the point under the Pagula leadership, they kind of run themselves now. They have a new GM in place. Ted Black runs the business side. I think the Pagulas need to spend more time with the Bills, especially since you're dealing with the potential for a stadium issue, trying to find out what sites are good. So I think right now they're a little more over with the Bills. They were more over with Harbor Center. Now that's up and running. So I think the fact you don't see them as much with the Sabres doesn't strike me as a negative.
They also spent about 15 times more on the Bills than they did the Sabres.
Sure did. $189 million versus, $1.4 billion.
Yeah. So, hey, Mike, it's always great having you on. I'm glad that you're back out and about and knocking them dead. So we'll have to have you back.
All right, Bob. Thanks very much.
Mike Harrington, Buffalo News. We'll be back to wrap up All Sport WNY right after this.